gangers that fight in the name of House Goliath are hulking brutes, each a pillar of muscle and pent-up violence, ready to be unleashed. These massive warriors are the product of House Goliath work clans, each of them gene-smithed using stim elixirs, traded from House Pressure for a life of punishing labor and hardship in the depths of the house's foundries and refineries. Far larger and stronger than an ordinary human, they flaunt their strength wherever they go, and it is difficult to ignore the air of brutality Goliaths wear like a mantle. However, their genetic gifts come with a price, for the forge that burns twice as hot only burns half as long, resulting in a drastically shortened lifespan, even by the dismal standards of Necromunda. Membership in a gang offers a Goliath a life beyond the foundry and the chance for greatness, not to mention the opportunity to crack some skulls. When a charismatic and cunning leader emerges from among the work crews, the housemasters are quick to make their offer. Intelligence and initiative, traits that are of little value in the foundries, are then put to good use against rival houses. Such leaders are provided weapons and armor, often adapted from factory tools and protective gear, and allowed the pick of their crew. The new gang is then turned out, its battle-hungry leader needing little prompting to go forth and find trouble. House Goliath retains a measure of control over the gang through the chem leash each ganger wears about their neck. All Goliaths need a steady supply of chems and stims to keep their massive bodies functioning, and to provide them with their impressive strength. It is a rare cocktail controlled by the housemasters, and one they use to keep the gangs and work clans in line. Each ganger wears about their person one or more auto rigs that regulate the delivery of these stims into their bloodstream. And while a ganger can go some time between hits, providing they conserve their strength, eventually they will exhaust their supply and will need what only the house can provide, lest their short lives become even shorter, or worse, their bodies erupt in sudden and uncontrolled growth. Despite this, rumors persist of Goliath's gangs gone rogue, having replaced their dependents with black market remedies, Xenos drugs, or even the flesh of the dead. Goliath gangs are about as subtle as a fist to the face when it comes to fighting. Fancy tactics and sneaky ambushes are the tools of the weak, and a Goliath will seldom stoop to such lows. Goliath gangers favor closing with the enemy as quickly as possible, grabbing them by the throat and not letting go until either the ganger or the foe is lying on the ground, screaming out their last breath. For fighters lacking the strength and resilience of a Goliath, such tactics would doubtless be suicide, their puny bodies broken by gunfire or grenades as soon as they left cover. A Goliath, however, has the stamina to see it through, and the stoicism, perhaps the result of their shortened lifespan, to accept death should they fail. Goliath leaders embody these shock and awe techniques, and are often the first into the fray, roaring like bullcocks and waving for their gang to follow. It is a matter of pride for a Goliath leader to personally break the opposing gang leader, or at the very least, perpetrate some act of extreme violence, such as ripping off an enemy's head or punching their teeth out at the back of their skull in full view of the gang. The weapons favored by Goliath gangs reflect this up-close and personal tactic, generally focusing on short-range firepower, guns with large magazines, and high rates of fire, or hefty melee weapons, selected as much for their fearsome appearance as the damage they can inflict. In fact, most Goliath-ranged weapons and gear can be pressed into service for abandoned slag heap, radcast, abandoned manufactory, or some forge. These forbidden places are toxic to those without the Goliath's Gene Smith gifts, and the harsh environment seems to remind them of home. Goliath gladly endured these hardships, for they reinforce the cherished belief that the other clan houses are populated with weaklings. These hideouts are often filled with a wealth of cast-off scrap that can be used to support the gang's growing arsenal. Over time, they might grow into settlements in their own right, as the gang puts on their industrial skills to work creating heavy equipment, homemade weaponry, and makeshift armor. Goliath will trade with other gangs for what they need, most notably technological items or drugs they cannot manufacture themselves. But playing merchant is not what they are best at. They tend to make deals based on the threat of sudden and brutal violence, rather than any kind of trader's acumen. More likely, the gang will simply take what it needs, as this fits with their belief that strength is all. Wise hive traders know that if you intend to deal with the Goliath gang, you had better be ready to prove your willingness to fight. At least, if you want to strike a good deal. The hives of Necromunda are filled with countless notorious Goliath gangs, and some of the greatest acts of inter-house warfare can be attributed to them. Durgan Killfist and his knuckle boys once turned an entire half-dome into their own personal fight pit. Wielding the blast doors and conveyors shut, they trapped 3 rival gangs before sparking a brawl that dragged on for 3 days, painting the tunnels red with blood. Gurnak, the Boot King, once held the great West Ash Gate of Hive Acropolis for a whole month. His gangers terrorized the local merchants, demanding tribute for passage and turning their stubborn turrets on anyone not quick enough to bend the knee to the Boot King. Though few live long enough, it is the dream of many Goliaths to ascend the Hive and join the ranks of the House Masters. One who did